relative to Ghislaine Maxwell. It's Friday, August 8th. It's a little after 6 p.m. West Coast time. So a week ago, Thursday and Friday, she spent 9 or 10 hours in a room with her attorney being interviewed by Donald Trump's former criminal defense attorney, Todd Blanche, who's currently the number two person at the Department of Justice, just behind Pam Bondi, who Donald Trump paid a $25,000 bribe to while she was attorney general in the state of Florida. So she would close her investigation into Trump University. Pam Bondi was attorney general in the state of Florida from 2011 to 2019. 2019 was the same year that Jeffrey Epstein was arrested and took his own life, allegedly. Um, but so Jeffrey Epstein finished his little sweetheart deal prison sentence in Florida in 2009 and immediately resumed all of the things, all of the activities that he had been engaged in previously. And then 2 years later, Pam Bondi was elected attorney general and did absolutely nothing to stop him in Florida, where Pam Bondi was the attorney general in the state of Florida. 8 years. Pam Bondi did absolutely nothing. And now Pam Bondi, who did absolutely nothing to stop Jeffrey Epstein for 8 years in Florida before he was finally arrested one last time, and Donald Trump's former criminal defense attorney, who did such a bang up job in Manhattan that Donald Trump was convicted of 34 felonies in that trial. Those two people are in charge of deciding what of the Epstein files is going to be released to the public. And Todd Blanche is in charge of interviewing Ghislaine Maxwell and making a deal with Ghislaine Maxwell. He's already improved her life dramatically. He got her moved to a minimum security federal prison camp where apparently most or all of the other inmates are like, what the fuck is she doing here? This place is for nonviolent offenders. She's a multiple count convicted child sex trafficker who engaged in the sexual molestation of minors. Why is she here? She's not even eligible to be here. Oh, Donald Trump, his administration they waived her child sex trafficking charges so that she would be eligible to go from a much higher level security prison to a minimum security prison. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. So, but here's the thing. It is being reported. Well, and today's Friday, so night before last, I think it was night before last, Wednesday night, there did, in fact, take place a meeting at the White House between J.D. Vance, fresh off of his appearance in this week's episode of South Park, Pam Bondi, Todd Blanche, White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, and a guy who always perpetually looks like a combination of he just shit his pants and he just actually saw what's in the Epstein files, Kash Patel. There's a strategy meeting between the five of those people to determine how to further proceed as relative to releasing additional information from the Epstein files after they redacted Donald Trump's name from the more than 300 gigabytes worth of evidence in that file. I mean, you know, but apparently it's being reported that during those interviews between Todd Blanche and Ghislaine Maxwell and her attorney, Ghislaine Maxwell said to Todd Blanche that Donald Trump never engaged in inappropriate behavior in her presence. In her presence. So I guess this is going to be just like another fucking Rorschach test, um, for these inbred my family tree is a wreath, fart huffing MAGA chuds to see if they're actually going to come on this app and say, Ghislaine Maxwell exonerated Donald Trump. If they're gonna do with that sentence, Ghislaine Maxwell said, Donald Trump never did anything inappropriate in my presence. If they're going to carve up that sentence the way they carve up the Second Amendment. Because with the Second Amendment, they only cite the very end, shall not be infringed. They carve off the first part, a well-regulated militia. So we'll see if they treat that sentence about what Ghislaine Maxwell said the same way they treat the Second Amendment. Ghislaine Maxwell said, Donald Trump never did anything inappropriate in my presence. Well, they're going to cut off that last part. They're going to say Donald Trump did nothing wrong relative to Jeffrey Epstein. Knowing the things that we know about Donald Trump, do you think he's actually going to rape a minor in front of another person? Knowing that that other person is there? Watching? You think Donald Trump is big on having sex while other people watch him have sex, other than the person with whom he's having sex, who's laying there going, oh, geez, what the fuck? What the hell is that? Really? You think Donald Trump's into that? Having other people watch him have sex with someone else? Of course he didn't do anything inappropriate in her presence, you potatoes. Jesus Christ. Do you guys have sex in front of other people, MAGA? Your neighbor Jerry comes over, cracks open a beer. I'm just going to watch you and the wife, Bill. You're like, okay, that's fine. So again, it's like we're going to get another test here of the mental gymnastics and wordplay, parkour, and the sheer gullibility of Trump supporters. Donald Trump didn't do anything inappropriate in my presence. Do away with that part, just like we do away with a well-regulated militia. Shall not be infringed. Donald Trump did nothing inappropriate. I've said it before, I will say it again. We are a nation of morons, and we will not survive the 80 million just gobsmackingly dumb, gullible, and easily manipulated potatoes that voted for this guy because they voted for him because they're dumb, gullible, easily manipulated, and they're incredibly selfish, and they're cruel, and they're racist and bigoted and misogynistic and homophobic and transphobic. What do you mean my wife's getting deported? Fuck you, dude. You voted for this shit. Eat it.